Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Wind and Thunder Gaming. I am back from the dead. I had a bit of a hiatus of making videos due to, we'll say my own personal laziness, and that's what we'll chalk it up to. So, due to my indiscretion, uh, I did not make a video in time to catch week 5 of the COGs. Is that what we're at now? He says, checking in the background. Oh, jeez. Yeah, I think. Yeah, okay, we're going to go with 5. Yeah, okay. So, we missed. We missed it. I'm sorry. I wish I could find the VODs. And I asked my fellow casters. But since it was a last minute thing, no one remembered to local record it. But we missed BFS's sick, awesome mine launcher play on Parisian, however the hell you pronounce that. But yeah, oh my god, that play was beautiful. Just laying down mines, applying pressure from long range, and pushing forward. Excellent, excellent play. Might delve into that, but this week is dedicated entirely to a clan called Overwatch. We're going to look at the majority, if not all, of the competitive games that they've played in the past 2 weeks. They were in the first Sunday Rumble, which they won, the second Sunday Rumble, which they lost, and this week's Flotsam Duel at Dawn final match versus the Merrymen, where they popped out of nowhere and just punished the Merrymen. Was still a close game, but Merrymen played pretty overconfidently. So let's talk a bit about Overwatch, shall we? Let's here we go. We got the Overwatch versus the Falconeers. I'm gonna scene 6, hopefully the right one. Found it. Here we go. So, Overwatch versus the Falconeers. Bunch of weird Mobula play coming from both teams. We see the Upside Down and a Love Supreme. Fairly bizarre builds from both of them. Falconeers running something like Artemis, Mortar, Merc Cannon, Bizarro. No, this is okay. So here we go. Upside Down's running Flare Cannon, Artemis. This quality is not high enough. To 720 and beyond. Which still isn't that nice. Couple Artemis. A mine launcher, which is right there. Field gun. So 2 Artemises, field gun, flare, mine launcher. Yeah, a little bit of functionality on this boat, and that, you know what, you can do that. So this ship, we see an Artemis on either side, so they can get a weird trifecta going with a bunch of long-range weapons, the Artemis and the Merc Cannon. Or we can see them try and get a trifecta of just like a lot of explosive damage. No gunners ended up taking Lesmox, so at least on the Pyramidians. So there was a bunch of engagements where very, very short falling shots coming from mortars, which only was a detriment to both teams. So I'd like to see some Lesmock play, especially if they're just sitting on mortar all day. So Love Supreme ends up chipping away a little bit at the Upside Down. Oh my god. See, you skip like 20 seconds, and then everything starts dying. I guess this is a bad obs angle. So what we ended up seeing is we saw Meow 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 coming around this arc. And then Snuggly Gosling. Okay, this is what happened, right? This is hard to cover as an observer because there's two separate engagements happening. I remember this engagement now. Snuggly Gosling and Meow 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 are attacking each other. One of the Mobulas ends up running into this fight. I think it's a Love Supreme. No, it was the Upside Down. So Upside Down is running to try and assist, I believe. Yeah, and while he's running to this engagement, a Love Supreme is just having at him, trifecting his behind as he tries to get back in that fight. So he got torn up. A Love Supreme is the ship with the mortar and flak on it, so it's just tearing into it, explosive damage style, and the piercing damage from Merc cannons, just enough to chip it away. So Meow Meow Meow's hung out to dry here, but I believe this is the dance of derp. Nice Phoenix play. You always want to be, if you're a Pyramidion brawling, arcs are your most important thing, but they're pretty comfortable using their side weapons right now for whatever reason. So a bit of a tar. Love Supreme has to go in low. Meow 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 is just dropping and praying, but Love Supreme ends up taking him out. Okay, here we go. Bit of an interruption. Helping the ducks get their streaming stuff started. So, Snuggly Gosling. Blue just came up on that kill. Meow 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 jumping right back into the fight. Getting a little bit far ahead of Upside Down. Upside Down needs to start cranking vertically. Yep, that's about where that'll get you. You have to be prepared to brawl. So, this is, I believe, a 5-0 in the favor of the Falconeers. One thing about Overwatch that is super interesting is that their roster changes so heavily game to game. I think it was when they were scrimming with the paddling, their roster changed. When they were in Sunday Rumble number 2, their roster changed again, and their roster changed again when they did Flotsam today. So, and like I'm talking captain and crew, from what I remember at least. So yeah, you'll see so many different builds. They did a Pyramidion Galleon. They do the Pyramidion Mobula. They do a bunch of shit. So it's very hard to plan for what they're going to throw at you. So they meet together upside down, getting way too far ahead. You never want to send a Mobula in first, because then it's just the whipping boy of the entire game. Blue team seems to have the not foresight, but insight to tell that the Pyramidion was weaker, so they decided just to focus him down. Upside Down ended up getting himself out of that fight pretty quick. Okay, so the next match is Duel at Dawn. Believe we see a few build changes. Or do we? Because I feel like Upside Down takes a gat. 2 gats. Just because, holy hell, a Mobula, 2 Gatlings. And that's just 3 on the team as a whole. Yeah, see, dual gats and a mortar front. I really like this build. This is an excellent brawling build. It helps supplement with that Pyramidion excellently. But the thing with the Mobula is you have to be super careful with where you place it. It's super dangerous to let it go in front of the Pyramidion. And it's super hard to defend if it ends up getting focused right off the bat. We're talking about delay servers in Skype chat right now, and it's interesting because it's funny how XSplit runs that, and I feel like if Twitch ran a feature that like you could set through options, that'd be way more optimal. Anyway, quick tangent. So Love Supreme trucking in here. That is their mobile. Getting way too far ahead. I believe Snuggly Gosling is behind Juggernaut at the moment. So that is super detrimental. So that means that I did not see any. So Love Supreme should still be using that mortar, Merc cannon, flak setup. So Upside Down getting caught up, but he's managing to break the vertical arc by going upwards. Excellent play from Upside Down. Meow Meow Meow's getting really chipped away here. But Upside Down's going to be able to supplement enough to help him out. Bizarre bit of tar, not really necessary. Love Supreme, another nice tar. I don't know why mobiles are carrying tar. I'd like to see something with, as Brick said, a lot more vertical maneuverability. Shoot vent, something, anything. Shoot vent would have really helped there. If he popped that and just went in full reverse, he would have at least broke arcs with the Snuggly Gosling for a couple seconds. But then he'd have had to worry about the speller. But that we're working on hypotheticals right now. So Meow 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 ends up putting down the blue team's mobile, and blue team ends up putting down the red team's mobile. And at this point, Meow Meow Meow's at such a disadvantage. Snuggly Gosling just comes in with a mop, and he's like, done. Snuggly Gosling really working to carry weight, I guess I'd say. I mean, Love Supreme did a lot of damage, but yeah. This is very meat grindy. I do not agree with this decision. There's a very, like, Overwatch will be super, super liberal in their playstyle, man. It is insane. And teams will try to punish them for it, but they'll do it in such a manner. Like, look at this. It's a mobile outbrawling a Pyramidian. That is insane. Maybe it was just a mishap and we missed it. Engineering-wise on the Snuggly Gosling, but you never know. Oh, I'm looking at Sammy BT's specs, and his upload should fist 720, but during the stream is streaming at like 540, and that's just no bueno. Like, Sammy BT could easily, his system could easily handle streaming at 1080p if he really wanted to, but only problem with streaming at 1080p is the people sometimes can't watch that because their internet's so jank. I only have like 3 upload, and I can still kind of stream at 720. But anyway, back to the game. Or rather, kind of stream at 1080. So, we had Upside Down winning that brawl. Now, Love Supreme is going to be lagging back here. Snuggly Gosling is going to be going right in for it, focusing the Pyramidian off the bat. And now he's just like, whoop, this is a big nope train. I'm just going to keep going, which was the right decision. I mean, he was stuck in between a rock and a hard place. There were 2 potential things. He could have tried to sneak around and try to do something with that, but the chances of that happening are very hard when the red team's slowly migrating into that open space. But yes, nice tar zoning. Bizarre angle, but the only problem with tar is it wafts. Quick question to the viewers. If tar is not affected, or if tar is affected by wind, then should mines also be affected by wind? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. So now Love Supreme is hanging out, trying to make a bit of a distraction. Snuggly Gosling needs to be Phoenix clawing right now. No idea what he's doing. I mean, he burnt a bit of tar, but that should have been handled by the engineers by the time he's over there. So this is a bizarre play. I mean, he went a little far away. As soon as the Mobila was like, okay, now they're focusing me, that's when you kill the engines and turn around. Maybe it was a little bit of form of miscommunication. That's something we definitely see with the Falconeers on occasion. is just a very simple thing being chalked up completely to miscommunication, and you're just like, well, maybe they need to talk more. That's about it. Snuggly Gosling and a Love Supreme have a very convenient opportunity here. They could do a very easy pincer. We know Love Supreme is about mid-range, so I'd like to see him come up to about here while they initiate on the upside down. And then it would be an easy transition to switch to the meow meow meow. I can't remember who said it, but I was in a Twitch chat and they're like, the Mobula is essentially a one big mortar landing platform, and that is very much the case. You have this very wide base, and then shots just arc right on top of it and get pretty brutal on occasion. Now, red team's starting to be at a bit of a disadvantage here. Being chipped away by a Love Supreme at range. And there goes Meow 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 for the tie. Just being chipped away at range, mind you. Which is amazing, because I think they must have been using like dual Artemises in that fight. The Artemis Mark combo. Just to try and chip away at that. So upside down, retreating back. Very smart. He didn't meet grind here. Oh, is this that super aggressive? Oh man, this is awesome. Watch Meow 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 and the massive pair of balls on that ship. Meow 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 has the Goyo equivalent to truck nuts just hanging off that ship right now. Because I'm pretty sure this is where Meow 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 just goes for fucking gold. No, wait. Is that the next match? I don't know. Pretty sure it was on Duel when they did that. Like, they'll do super liberal, gambly things, and it'll usually pay off because the other team isn't prepared for it. Threading this is not an okay thing to do. With this tab, I'm going to point this out every time. But now, like, just the tension in this game was insane. They're just both so very careful. Now, red team is spotted. Now, there's a spot in between this and the next pillar over there that he can pop into and go down. See, upside down's backing up. This is very no bueno, but his armor's down, so I understand the sentiment. So, while upside down's backing up, Meow 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 with his massive nuts just goes charging in. But he's riding the clouds. I don't know if this was planned, but this was gold. We're going to ride cloud cover through the Leviathan to try and get the drop on the Mobula. Like, they've been playing the game for like 2 weeks. Fuck. And the passing flame. Insane. Oh my god, it's so beautiful. This is why Overwatch have been killing veterans. They do things that you're not prepared for. They used the, maybe coincidentally, but they used the cloud cover to their advantage. I don't know if that was just purely luck, but nevertheless, just tearing into that. So jumping into the next game. Very awkward map to take two Mobulas on, I'll say. Or is this... Or did Falconeers switch out? I feel like they did at one point. So we have Mortar, Dragon's Tongue, Mine Launcher. We saw Cake today. Today was the Duel at Dawn Duck tournament. We saw them take dual Flame Front, and we figured out really quick why that's no bueno. Yeah. I mean, they took two disabling ships, and one of which was a Watch of Fish, the other one was... Now, the only way I could have seen that working is if, you know, Nid was piloting the Watch of Fish and with his crew, because the amount of foresight it takes to be able to switch targets appropriately with the Hwacha to be able to time it perfectly is insane. It's completely insane. And with such a gimmicky build on the Cake side, You can tell why it was. I was surprised they even got 3 kills. I was expecting maybe 1 or 2 because they weren't expecting it, but ended up getting way more than that. Also, Cullen defecting from the Muse team was playing the same day. I don't know what to say about that. So this is pretty slow game from what I can remember. So I'm gonna skip forward. Hopefully I don't. Okay. Well, Supreme managing to go low, but red team focusing them like a heat-seeking missile. Look at this. 3 Gatling streams coming from red team. The Snuggly Gosling's armor is gone. And that mortar from the Meow 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 is going to start taking him out. Softened him right up for that ram. I wonder if Meow 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 was using any engine intoxicants. Yeah, he was. He was popping kerosene and then he popped Phoenix Claw instantaneously. This is what I like to see. Sometimes I see people just not using anything ever, and I'm just like, come on, let's burn those engines up. They're green. What is happening? Stop it. So now, they end up turning on a Love Supreme. Love Supreme's going to try and focus. Okay, so yep, the landing platform. Snuggly Gosling doing a very good job of getting back into this fight, except the Mobula was dead as soon as those two boats got their guns on them. So I believe Snuggly Gosling gets a quick kill here and then manages to brawl with the Meow 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 for a bit. But, trying to win a brawl after the Pyramidian's been tearing into you for a bit is very difficult. Meow 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 using that Phoenix Claw, good plan. And the building is going to end up doing the rest. You got to have expert spatial reasoning. I'd like to see him back up a bit. You got to be aware of these things. It's very hard on Parisian, don't get me wrong, but, you'll know. 3D map awareness is super hard on maps like Canyon, especially when you're flying in clouds and you're kerosening, and then you're like, oh, there's a building. Oh, geez. Instant regret. Okay, and I'm back for the 4th incoherent time. Okay, got Sammy BT's streaming setup straightened out, so you can expect 720p on the morrow. That'll be great. So where did we leave off? We have red team in the upside down, battering the veterans. Falconeers are like, back in my day we had a watch of fish and I got Morta Pyramidian. And then Meow 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 was just there, kicking a senior in the stomach. Meow Meow Meow's a terrible person. Done slandering people. So now it's the race of the Mobulas. This is going red team's way because this blue Mobula is way closer than Snuggly Gosling is to upside down. So he ends up going down quick, and then this is just a meat grind, and oh my god, this went all sorts of wrong for the Falconeers. So, okay, yeah, this was a good choice by Snuggly Gosling. I'm like, I thought it was a lot more intense than this. I'm like, I don't remember them just turning and killing him. But yeah, okay, so he should have kept running. This is his main problem. Ended up doing some good zoning with Tar, but he needed to keep running. He just needed to keep running. He ended up turning, but he needed to keep running. All this Miss Mortar. He should have kept flying. But if he just maintained an arc where he flew through here, went a little bit lower past this building, and turned around this way, I think he would have been in way better condition. Because right now he went to turn the face, and then he just ended up getting torn apart. I mean, if they ended up switching, their focus sooner, then he could have turned around. But he ended up turning around while they were still shooting at him, so it was completely detrimental and way too beneficial to the Overwatch because they're on patrol and stuff. So that was our first game. Moving on to that was our first series, the last series of the first week. So. Here we have the Sunday Rumble 2. The finals. Guess who? Yep, the Overwatch versus the Falconeers. But this time there's a subtle difference. You know, if this wants to change, you guys still probably can't see. I'm gonna maximize and hope that, yeah, okay, good, he's in frame. We have Nid here. This is a very, in the Apraxia Leary. So that's a massive change to the meta of these games. Nid is an outstanding goldfish pilot. One of the best support disable captains. The only problem with Nid is that he needs that perfect team synergy. He needs that other captain that can kill as soon as he's off a target and focusing down the other one. He needs to be ensured that the one he left behind is going to die. And Ophiok really filled out that role, but I'm not sure what happened to Ophiok in recent weeks, but he hasn't been showing up. So, very interesting build. Also, another change that happened was the Overwatch roster completely changed. So they ended up rolling a Carronade Hwacha Galleon with a Gat. And I wish I caught that Mobile build. I wasn't paying attention. Flat. Look at these textures that I've yet to load in. God, I can't fucking read it. I give up. Flak, Artemis, Merc, Gat, Artemis. So now they went with more stripping. So Love Supreme ended up wanting that a little bit more stripping. The Bal-U ONS. .ons, that sounds like a file type. Keeping his broadsides out. YouTube lagging like YouTube does. Or that might be in game. I don't even. Proxy Leary is gonna go low and try and pop up, but I believe Love Supreme is too far back. So Balloons is going to be end up taking a lot of disabling damage from the combined fire from the Merc and the Artemis on the left side of the Love Supreme. I'd like to see Triarch, seeing as they're not yet engaged fully, because they will be focusing the Apraxia. But now Apraxia is taking out that balloon, but now it's dropping out of arcs for a Love Supreme. I have no idea what's chipping away. I think it very well might be the Carronade. You can see he's using the Carronade main, but he also almost always uses that Artemis side as well. So he uses the Artemis to also chip away. So when the piercing damage from the Carronade, well, okay, there's no piercing damage on a Carronade. When the Flechette gets through the balloon and starts hitting the hull, once that's done with the hull, he can poke at it with the Artemis. So now Cloud Runner, Eater rather, just walking into it. This is a bad decision. I mean, the minute the Galleon was out of the fight, you should have been a lot more cautious. If the Apraxia went in to follow, then I would have condoned it, but that was just a plain old good old fashioned meat grind. It was a plain old 2v1. He's going to try and zone with Tar, but Apraxia can easily avoid that. The first engagement goes fairly swiftly to the Falconeers. Falconeers are very good on fjords. Makes me wonder if they signed up for a Sunday or whatever day the Fjords is on. I think it's a Saturday, in memoriam of claiming the Fjords tournament, I'd assume. So Balloon's getting caught out. This was just a really shitty spawn. I mean, he could have more efficiently moved in that direction to try and meet up with his teammate. Seeing as his teammate doesn't have much in the way of long range, this is just feeding. Cat flak on the Cloud Eater, which is a bit interesting. Feel like this needs to be adapted by Gilbert and Sullivan. He is the very model of a modern meat grinder. God. I'm laughing way too much at my own joke. Okay, so he gets eviscerated. Train did a bit of that work. And now Balloon's just like, oh shit. Oh shit. This is a very wide open map. I'm surprised they even took a carronade on it. For how open this map is, you think the team with Huacha would be doing a bit better. I'd go so far as to say if we saw Cloud Eater take Mercs, which I don't believe it did, this would be going a lot better. So Blue, he went fairly unnoticed for a long time, but then they ended up, maybe this was a bait technique, that they pretended like they were going in for Balloon so Cloud Eater got comfortable, then they just turned on him. You never know. If it was, that was an excellent. So this is the second dominating performance we've seen in the, we'll say, round of 6 series. So yeah, Falconeers have a dominating presence on Fjords. You have to be super careful with them. Like, they managed to take a carronade on this map, for God's sakes, and make it work. So here we go, Canyon ambush. Changing my overlays finally. There we go. Mortar Banshee side, never really understood that. Way too much explosive damage to make that work for what it is, I guess. So Gat, Merc, Flak, weird front sides. I believe 2 Artemises on the side. Sparta really making that carronade work out well for the Falconeers. Okay, this is a long game, but yeah. So here we go, the initial engagement. I'm going to talk about this as it unfolds. This is an excellent technique I love to see. If someone focuses you, you retreat behind your teammate and you let your teammate get really close this distance while they're focusing you. And eventually they'll end up switching targets. If not, then your friend gets a lot of free hits on them. And if they end up switching targets, that's just an opening for you to start moving in. So I love watching that play. So there's 3 Gatlings coming from Overwatch. See, now they finally switch targets. Love Supreme should start coasting in. The Apraxia is going to be taking a bunch of damage. Cloud Eater looks like, you can see there was a tad bit of miscommunication. Cloud Eater looked like, for the longest time, like he was going to turn to the Apraxillary. But the upside down ended up keeping going. And this is to their detriment, because the minute that they started to ignore the Apraxillary, the upside down's balloon was non-existent. Got completely eviscerated. So Love Supreme gonna move in, bounce, finish taking them off. You know, if you get rammed from a mobile that you're doing pretty bad, and you're just like, oh my god, how could I allow this to happen? That mortar gonna be raining in. Excellent play from the upside down. I believe he ends up getting him. But now in this 1v1, make no mistake, virtually all the time the carronade fish will win, because it's so easy to keep that mobile balloon down. tar, weird camera angles. There we go. Weird cloud texture just getting in the way. And with no arcs, Praxeolary easily keeps this ship bouncing off the side. And I believe once the armor goes down, you'll see Artemis just start poking at 1, 2, 3. And just keeping that main balloon down. So yeah, the 1v1 obviously goes to a Praxeolary. Far and away a more experienced pilot. And that's not a slight to the red team, but just to talk about how good of a pilot Nid actually is. So Cloud Eater are going to be coming up here. Now I believe this is where we see, I get to use my map that I finally decided to change. We watch blue team come in around this way. In that really janky kind of question mark fashion. Where is my... Couldn't find my control... my undo button. Anyway, back to this. So they set up at main door, and then blue ends up getting the drop behind them, I believe. So now the question stands, because Falconeers win this series. What could have Overwatch done to... Oh, I lied. Must have been in like something else completely. I don't know. Thinking maybe paddling versus Overwatch. I feel like that happened in an Overwatch game at some point. So apparently they decided to come out, and now they got super panicky, and now they're splitting focus. Everything bad is happening. Okay, I'm gonna go back a little farther so we can figure out what really happened. So Cloud Eater pops out first. A Praxeolary kills his balloon like instantaneously. You can see it getting beaten up. So now there's a split sort of focus that is just going terribly. A Praxeolary switched targets to the upside down, which I enjoyed seeing. They didn't end up taking out the Cloud Eater's balloon, but they knew that the Mobula is weaker without his balloon. Like, they'll just start dropping out of the air much faster. And the minute that they start bouncing off the ground on their balloon, all that damage that is potentially going to the balloon is actually going to the hull and the armor. So you have to be super wary. Like, I think the only one who brought Drogue Shoot was Cloud Eater or something. So, not a lot happening here. I mean, the minute you see a carronade fish, I believe, you know what, that just condones automatically both of the other ships are taking Drogue Shoot. Love Supreme cleaning up Upside Down's teammate. And they're at a 4-1 advantage. Is this where the hook happens? I feel like there's a hook that happens somewhere. I'm not crazy, you guys, I swear. So this ends up going on for a while. Yeah, okay, so they ended up hooking around and just ended up switching spawns. Yeah, see, so Love Supreme ends up, and Praxia, Falconeers end up hooking around that way. They end up peeking their heads out of this, and they're just like, where are they? So a simple spawn swap. It's really easy to do on maps that are this big, but Blue's like, okay, they must have been at the mouth. So they quickly coast over that direction. Cloud Eater turning around quickly. Upside Down already turned. I thought it was facing the other way. What is Upside Down doing? Bizarre. That was a weird... I feel like it was a misplay, like accidentally turned on Phoenix Call and amplified a turn arc more than they wanted to. This mortar shot going low. I'd like to see them taking Lesmok. Actually, that might be using Lesmok. I might just be unobservant. So Cloud Eater got way too far out here. Like, this is way too far out. If you're at half hull, that's when you start backing up and panicking. Or charging and trying to go under. But I wouldn't advise it at this range. This range, they'd dominate you. So I'd like to see Cloud Eater start backing up, Upside Down start heading in. That series ended up going to the Falconeers, who really wanted to take back their name. I find that veterans who underestimate Overwatch end up getting punished very heavily. That is what we saw happen with how fitting I flicked here. It's that what ended up happening with the Merrymen is they got a little too overconfident. A couple misplays and Overwatch punished them. So so here we go. Last game. Overwatch ended up winning the bracket. For Duel at Dawn. This is the finals. Merrymen versus Overwatch. Overwatch are a bunch of veteran killers. Ended up busting down doors and shooting the meta in the face. Anyway, Hellburglar and Meow Meow Meow. This is the first engagement. Then it was rebuilt. Has swapped out their Lumberjack for a flak cannon. I don't know what prompted that decision, but they still have that Gatling. It's a very interesting choice. I feel like Lumberjack would have provided that little bit of balloon harass to just help. So they're really depending on a lot of explosive damage. You can tell he's switching to Brawl. He let him drift over that side so he could just dual carronade him. But now your only your only source of explosive damage is now way too low to even affect that target. So this is why we see people like to bring a Hwacha contingent on both sides in case things like this happen, where they're like, well, shit, now they're on our right side, we have no explosive damage. But now, then it was rebuilt, switched to his right side, so we should be seeing... No, he's still turning. So now he's got his strong side on him. So that Hwacha, Frogger was loving Mr. Lambert's Hwacha work today. I'd like to see Lambert or whoever is on that Hwacha stagger their shots a little more. Not committing, waiting for hit markers, but damn, when you're that good, did you see that? He committed the full burst just with prediction, and the white prediction box, the spot box, there we go. Got there eventually, get at me. So, Meow 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 retreating to his teammate, which was an excellent decision. Blame dug a little too far out of that fight to help supplement. Flat Cannon wouldn't have been doing much. Gatling can strip, but, you know, it's difficult at that range. So I ended up going low, still just trying to keep arcs on him. Yeah, so Blame Doug has 2 mercs raining in to the hull burglar. So this is a product of the Merrymen not knowing quite where they were. They were expecting them maybe to come out of one side. Hull burglar going a little bit low. I'd like to see them use cloud cover, but it probably would have been rendered useless. Because there are flares. Meow 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 is going to jump right on Rear Admiral Zill here. Oh. I almost feel like he turned like that on purpose. So that the Ram pushed him a certain way. Zill has insane foresight for things like that, so it wouldn't surprise me if that was completely intentional. But, ended up shrugging that off pretty well. And while he tries to keep his right carronades on there. Nice use of the enemy to try and get your arcs back there. Using the terrain as a kind of redirection advice, as a kind of redirection device can work fairly well, but you have to be super careful. Like you can't, uh, kerosene into a mountain and like pray that it throws you the direction you want. Although that's what essentially ramming is, like ramming other people, especially in a pyramidion. You're essentially just sacrificing your arcs. So this is why I would have liked to see Blame Doug take two mortar sides, because he would have let him pass completely underneath him, just been like, all right, and then he would have passed underneath him, and then he would have just started using his other gap mortar side, and then he could have just coasted straight that way. But instead, he had to like Phoenix Claw, frantically turn around. He can't control his engage distance as well as if he had two sides. But they still managed to pick up the kill. Then it was rebuilt, charging in with the Galleon Ram. How's this balloon doing after that? That did not do a whole lot of damage. MML's going to try to get the hell out of dodge, but his left side's torn, and he's essentially just pointing his ass at a Hwacha. So that's never a good thing. Why did only one engine get disabled? I don't know. Probably because he wasn't using burst. This one thing I've noticed is, disable with the Hwacha started becoming a little more nullified, since, at least from what it used to be. Not nearly as effective from what I've been seeing it, how I've been seeing it used, or when I've been seeing it used. So Meow coasting around. He's not threading the needle. He's going high over that one bar, and I love him for it. But Hullburglar is going to end up going down. So here's where we figure out that it is not impossible to come back from stupid advantageous positions for your enemy. Overwatch ends up pulling this one back somehow. So Meow is going to start brawling with the Doug. Rear Admiral Zill's just trying to knock him out of the way. Bunch of weird arcs going everywhere. This is just giving Hullburglar time to get back in here. Raining down on that hull. Still managing to keep arcs. I don't even know how that's possible. Carronades from the right side going to start raining in, but now no weapons from the Blame Doug are even remotely on the Meow. So all that was raining in there was Carronade, and now 2 Pyramidion focus on Rear Admiral Zill, and we're back to 3-4 insane play. This is the kind of gambling nature that comes from Overwatch. They'll be like, Meow is just like, okay, I'm going in. And he survived. He somehow survived, and Hullburglar showed up to the party just in time. He got really lucky with some bounces from edge of map, and which took Blame Doug out of the fight. Like, he was so insanely lucky there. My brain can't even handle it. I mean, you can tactically say, "Oh, right, yeah, I'm gonna go in and kill them both," right? Like, I'm gonna go in 2v1 for a bit and wait for my teammate to catch up. But that's an insane gamble. You have to be depending on so much luck. This guy has horseshoes coming out of his colon, alright? Like, insane amounts of luck here. If that was all planned, then I'm just gonna quit. But beautiful play from Overwatch. So blue team is now taking this opportunity to try and regroup. And now begins the derp of the ribs. No, I'm clicking farther back than that. Thank you. So Hullburglar ends up leading that charge. They're both spotted. I'm surprised we saw the Blame Doug sink that low for no particular reason. Zill loves ramming with his balloon. See, so at this position, blue team is just so out of arc of everything. Both these ships run off broadsides that you need to be able to aim vertically very well. These ships have insane low vertical movement. So Blame Doug ends up taking it. This could have been... I would have liked to see them keep focusing then it was rebuilt. But we do know Zill has an insane amount of survivability. But now that that galleon's kind of out of the fight right now, he's got 2 weapons disabled. I don't mind the transition. You can tell how hard the Merrymen are fighting to hold on here. They're like, no, we can't lose to the Nuga. God damn it. So Zill manages to coast behind this. I'm surprised we didn't see Overwatch just drop straight into that right off the bat. Whole Burglar is praying for dear life right now. Ooh, you can just tell how tilted the blue team is. That's not a mistake you'd ever see Zill make if he was composed, we'll say. Yeah, I'm so surprised we didn't see just red team jump on him, and that's what Zill was anticipating. He's like, they're going to come down here and we're done, essentially. But then he realized, oh shit, they forgot completely where I was. Blame Doug, get in here as soon as you can, right? As soon as they saw them coming in these ribs, I'm like, that's not that great of a decision. I don't like tactically the use of like choosing to confine yourself if your ships rely on broadsides, because it can be so hard to control the space, essentially. Like, oh, I need to turn to get my broadsides on, but there's a massive piece of scrap in my way. You don't have that problem if you're in an open area. It's just like I can turn 360 however the hell I want, right? I like how they're focusing the whole Burglar here, and I'm surprised he didn't end up going down. Then it was rebuilt, still has that gat, so that was super surprising. I think that this galleon build relied a little too much on the blame Doug, which can be a very detrimental thing if you end up having a team build that's like, we're going to have one entire ship that is piercing and one entire ship that is explosive. Well, if you lose one ship, then that entire equation just goes to shit and you can't do anything with it. So that's why we saw the inclusion of the GAT on the then it was rebuilt, because they didn't want to be completely dependent. And you can say, well, they have one broadside piercing, one broadside explosive, but you couldn't feasibly like carronade them for a bit, swing the galleon's fat ass around to try and get explosive on it in time before they get their hull back up. Like, that is a massive assumption. So red team did an excellent job of controlling focus from the blue team. Hullburglar was playing super cautious, and he still has an out here where he can just back up out through here, provided he's a good enough pilot, which I believe he ends up doing. He's like, oh, Zill's focusing me, time to try and break arcs. I thought he was done here when he bounced off that. I was like, he's done. Zill's just gonna punish him. Blame Doug's gonna survive, but no, Hullburglar managed to stay alive, like pixel healthing it. Look at this shit. This is insane. I call hacks. I call all sorts of bullshit black voodoo Overwatch hacks. I mean, their logo for the Flotsam tourney looks super Illuminati to me anyway. Blame Doug taking that gat. I don't know how the whole burglar managed to stay alive for that entire time. Meow Meow's not even in this fight. He's leaving it entirely to whole burglar at this point. Meow Meow's balloon is fine. He's just trying to get Zill off of him. Blame Doug is so disabled, and I guess they knew that. They're just like going for the Rab in the 1 pixel health ship. I don't know how the Merrymen lost this. I mean, I guess it's just due to the one choice of let's hang in that rib. The ribs, man. Ribs will punish you. I mean, it's super hard to control, especially with broadside ships. If it was Pyramidians, I'd be like, all right. A lot of people like to dip and dive with Mercury cannons on Pyramidians. We saw TCD attempt to try and be sneaky behind ribs, but if the other person's long range and you have nothing to respond to with that, then hiding is a very rough decision to make, because it can be very hard to break arcs on this map. Because if the sniper team's out in the open, all they have to do is try to ascend to try and get arcs on you, right? And it's really easy to follow you. So that's what we saw ended up happening in that TCD game. So the title of Bringers of Dawn go to Overwatch I know for a fact that Merrymen were very disappointed with their performance. A couple, miscommunications. The entire engage in those ribs was very, very unlucky, to say the least. And that one engage where Meow 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 just got super lucky on a 2v1. This one here. Yeah, that was too far. Oh, too far back. Okay. Nope, still. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Yeah, this engage here. Super derpy engage. I don't even know what was happening. So Hullbringer ends up going down here. Meow 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 is trying to charge in to save him. And this was really the deciding point of the game. Like, blue team, after they had to respawn, I guess they were just so tilted. And then they had these really weird engagements in the ribs, so it was just down south from here. This was really the defining factor. This bizarre 2v1. Meow Meow Meow. Like, I think in my head I was like, okay, that's game. Meow Meow Meow's dead, right? But then just this weird shit. Zill rams him and then rams a junker 180. Now he's got his sniper side turned to him, and he's, oh my god, I don't. This was a defining factor, and that bizarre series of rams just allowed Hullburglar enough time to come in and help him kill Blame Doug. So that was absolutely insane. A lot of luck, a lot of gambling. Overwatch is a very interesting team to watch. And yeah, you gotta keep an eye out for them, man. They're on the up and up. They're vet slaying left and right. They've killed Falco. They've scrimmed with paddling. They got 3-5'd by the paddling on this map. But that's good when you're talking about playing the paddling. So that was, well, I don't think it was a paddling. I think Shooket was the Pyramidian pilot, but Squash was that team synergy on paddling. You can't attribute it to any combination with Squash and Smollett in it. It needs to be Squash and Smollett because their synergy is insane. But yeah, so what we've learned about Overwatch is they change frequently depending on who's captaining on their roster, and they swap out quite frequently. They've changed from series to series. So it's going to be very hard for other pro teams to try and gauge what they're going to end up doing. Like, if I go up against paddling, I'm going to be like, okay, Galleon, Pyramidian, Snipe, get ready to try and attempt to fight that somehow, right? But if I'm saying, okay, I'm going up against Overwatch, and you're like, okay, what have they taken? They've taken Mobilas with close range. They've taken Mobilas with far range. They've taken Pyramidian. They've taken Pyramidian Galleon. They're just all over the map and just very diverse. So it can be so hard to gauge when you're playing them. So I think we're gonna keep seeing them upsetting pro teams for a very long time. Anyways, this has been Wind and Thunder Gaming with your Overwatch of Overwatch. So have a nice day, stay safe, go follow my Twitter at WAT Gaming, and like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed what you've seen.